Hello, it's Melinda from Alexis and Melinda's Art Space. Coming on today with an art journal page. I'm working in my altered book. This is one of the lion books that I took apart, ripped all the lion pictures out, and it just left the text. So this page I started with the black circles. I use this journal as a use it up journal or a spot to put paint journal. If I squeeze too much paint out or I have a stencil out, I grab this journal out and just do a background. So this circle stencil, and I'm not sure what company it was one I got at a class kit quite a few years ago. One of my favourite stencils. Just while the stencil's dirty or I got extra paint, I just put some on a page. So the product you saw me just using there was clear gesso. It's a homemade clear gesso. It's made from PVA glue or wood glue, school glue, water, and a white powder substance that escapes my mind, marble dust, or it's known as something or other else. If you really want to know, I'll Google it. I added clear gesso because I wanted to use gelatos, and gelatos are a water-soluble waxy crayon, and they work better when they're on a gesso surface as opposed to just the raw paper. They will blend a lot more nicely. Oh, really? Words? Seriously, lately? I sit down to a voiceover, it's like as if my brain leaves my body. So scribbling around with the gelatos and now just activating them with water. Just using a water brush, but I am dipping it in a water pot. Excuse my water brush, it's got incredibly dirty because the ink and paint gets sucked up into the tube on the water brush in the barrel, but it's my favourite one, so I still keep persisting in using it. I will use my favourite product until it's just dead. It's just hasn't got any life left in it. I'm a bit like that. So I started off with the lighter colours so I didn't muddy the colours up. I didn't really know where I was going with this page when I started. I just wanted to sit down and play. So this journal is one of my smaller journals, and some days I feel like working big, some days I feel like working small. Just depends on what sort of mood I'm in when I want to go and craft. So this journal is, I call it an A5 journal, or it's a little bit bigger landscape way than 8.5 by 11, like your standard letter piece of paper or your bills bill piece of paper on its landscape. So probably approximately about a small Delusions journal. I'd love a Delusions journal. It's on my wish list. But I really can't justify the price. I love playing in my altered books when I can get them for sometimes free, sometimes for $1, sometimes for 20 cents, depending on where I go and get a hold of some books. But I'd love a Delusions journal one day. One day I might have one. So just picking up some of the colour, it was a bit dark with a piece of drop paper. That's a thin paper from, I mentioned it several times, and my regulars will know. When I go to my local supermarket, you go to the deli and you can ask for a couple of pieces of meat, and we tend to do that when we want just some for dinner or some for a sandwich because it doesn't last long, or I find that. And they put it in a plastic bag and then they wrap it in this, it's almost newsprint paper with that and then print on it. So it's nice and thin and it works really well as drop paper. So I've been saving that paper. We don't go to the deli that often, probably once a week or once a fortnight, just to grab a bit of meat for whatever meal we're having. And I've been saving it and using it as drop paper. It's really good collage paper because it's nice and thin. Okay, the two images that you saw really quickly and then zoomed away are the two magazine images I pulled out. The colours were inspired a bit by those. They've still got lion prints or leopard prints on them, so there's sort of the yellows, the browns and the blacks. So I'm actually sealing, giving this a coat of Liquitex matte medium. I want to seal the gelatos because I do want to put stuff on top of it, and I find if you seal it with like matte medium, or I could have used the clear gesso, I don't know why I didn't, probably the matte medium was at my hand, and I did want to glue these images on as well, so I don't know why I'm trying it because then I go and stick the images on top of it. It's the important thing to dry your layers with mixed media, otherwise they do get muddied up. So I wonder, actually it could have been, okay, I apologise. It's watered down white gesso because I wanted to push the colour back. Okay, scrap that. I did this a couple of weeks ago. It's really hard when I'm doing a voiceover. I have about a quarter of a laptop screen to see what I do, and sometimes it's hard. I have low vision and wear glasses, and sometimes it's hard to see details or remember. Shocking memory. So I did it, dried white. So okay, remember now, it was a watered down white gesso just to knock the colour back a bit so it wasn't so in your face. So these two magazine cutouts, I just love the way the ladies were sort of dancing. They come from a magazine. Just gluing those on with some matte medium, Liquitex matte medium, my favourite matte medium. But I only buy it when it's on sale. I love using magazine images in my artwork. It sort of gives a nice vibrant pop to the page without, and a great focal image without doing a lot, apart from cutting it out. So now I had this big gap in the middle and I didn't really know. I hadn't thought out this page beforehand. I hadn't got into an idea. Sometimes when I art journal, I know exactly what I'm going to do, and then we'll see how the page turns out. Sometimes I just pick up products and start throwing stuff on the page, and whatever happens, happens. For me, art journaling is not about the end process. Yes, sometimes I love the pages. Yes, sometimes they become my favourite. Other times I hate it, but I've had fun doing it. I've taken time out of my day or taken time out of my night to sit down and play, and the play for me is the most important part. Hopefully I end up with something I do like, and I do like this page. It's got a lot of elements on it I do like, and I do like the overall result. So if you're wanting to start art journaling and you've never done it before, don't be disheartened when you get to the end of the page and you don't like it, or you get to 99% of the page finished and you go and do one more thing on the top and then it ruins the whole page. It's the process that you go through with art journaling. It's all about growing as an artist and growing as a hobby artist or an artist, and just experimenting and playing. This is why I've morphed more into art journaling as opposed to scrapbooking, because I would often make a scrapbook page, and I'm going to attempt some mixed media ones soon. You'll see those eventually. I keep talking about them but haven't started. So just wanting to add some paint, wanting to blend the image into the background. I find with the scrapbooking, I don't like the end result. I look at everyone else's and they look so pretty and delicate and beautiful, and I go and look at mine and they're a bit more plain, a bit more of a plain Jane girl. When it comes to scrapbooking, I like the photos to stand out more than all the product on the page, and I've always sort of been like that. So just using some Reeves neutral colours. I believe one's burnt sienna, burnt umber, buff, and an off-white. They're my sort of fleshy tones that I picked up at Lincraft a while ago. Yes, lost my train of thought. Yes, so just try to blend the edges of the magazine into the page so it doesn't look like there's a background, a slapped image on the page. You sort of feather it around and sort of merge the two images together. And you can do that by just touching onto the edge of your magazine page and then putting the same colour onto your art journal page, and it sort of blends in, which is really cool. Sorry, this is my third voiceover in a row, so I'm getting a bit tongue-tied, but I tend to find I can film videos, I can art, I can edit, but coming to do the voiceovers, they're always left to last. I need to find a nice quiet spot in my house to do the voiceover. Most likely without Miss Alexis around. And she's not with me today, so that's good. I can get some voiceovers done. I tend to do them in batches as well. I'm multitasking today. I've got the washing on if you hear a bit of background noise. I've got the washing machine on and the door shut. I've got my machine running for work, and it's a bit loud, and doing stuff for an upcoming show I've got done. And I've got a roast in the oven. Aren't we good multitaskers as women? I don't know what I've gone to go and get now. Oh, I'm back. Okay, so I decided the page needs a border. So I grabbed my Montana paint marker. I love this thing. It's got like a centimetre and a half tip, and it's just great for big, bold borders, and I love just to frame the page with that. I must track down some more of these markers. I got in a class kit several years ago, and I believe you can buy blank ones you can fill up. Oh, this is a sneak peek of a Halloween page. It hasn't gone up yet, and it's a sneak peek of another page. I haven't finished yet. I put these meerkats on it and they go, meh, I don't know what I'm doing, so I left it. That Halloween page I made last year, but I never got around to actually filming, to finishing the editing, so that will go up this year. So you got a sneaky peeky. So just fixing the magazine image, it wasn't quite down. Or that might be fixing the pages. Sometimes in my altered books, depending on the paper quality, I'll either glue pages together, and I do have several videos on altered books on my channel, so you can certainly search those or have a look on the playlist that I'm getting up on my channel. So this stencil I actually had from another layout I'd done, I think the same weekend. And it was just sitting on top of my pile of stuff, so I grabbed it. The middle needed something, and I didn't want another magazine image, and I just wanted something different. So this black stencil is actually a magazine image that I've just cut out. As I said, I used it on a different layout, and then decided to add it to this one. And I just think I love Dina Wakley, wrong one, I get those two confused. I love Dina Wakley's figures and things, so this was a bit Dina Wakley inspired. So just extending the brown paint out and the black paint out in like wispy brush strokes. So I didn't want it to be like a solid colour, and I've got brown and black in there at the moment. Obviously gone to grab something. I didn't edit this one really good, did I? Oh no, I was probably untying my heat gun that's everywhere on the page. So just giving that a dry off, and then I do some journaling on it. I really love how she pops out from the page, and I liked how all the three girls have their arms up in the air. I don't know whether I deliberately did that when I was doing the page. Oh, sorry about that. So here I'm just covering or putting a bit of black in just to define the edge, and it looks really nice. I've got some close-up photos at the end for you. Using that big black Montana marker, I obviously used that in a layout just before as well. I don't know whether anyone else is the same as this, but I tend to scrapbook when I used to scrapbook and art journal from what I can hands reach on the page, not off the page, on the desk, on the shelf behind me, on the chest of drawers beside me. I don't necessarily, unless I'm looking for a specific thing, go and grab other things. So you'll often find products are used several times in my videos, and then you won't see them for a while because I've actually put them away. And then they will come out again for a journal page. So here I've grabbed it's like a calligraphy pen, a fountain pen from Daiso, and it's not writing really well. So I scrap that in a minute. It doesn't like to write over paint. It's certainly beautiful writing on paper, but it doesn't like the paint. So here I grab what pen have I got? Can I see? No, I can't see. It's probably another one that's not working. Or is that one working? So I'm just doing some scribble journaling. Don't necessarily try to read the journaling. I really don't know what it says now. Here I swapped to another pen. This is a big black pen. A Pentel pen. That one obviously didn't want to write on the paint either. So just doing some scribble journaling. I don't even know what I wrote. I can't read it. That's more the point that it's sort of... Obviously when I was writing it, I knew what I was writing, but now I don't. And that's a lot of art journaling is. If you've got feelings or thoughts, you can put them down in paper. They can be quite illegible, but at the time they mean something to you, and that's the only thing that matters. So then I decided I needed to do a bit of doodling on the dresses, just because the nature of the artiness in the middle and the magazines were sort of not coherent, so I just do some sketchy lines of black on the magazine images just to make them a bit more coherent. So here are some close-ups, and thank you for watching. This voiceover has gone off in a bit of a tangent, but we will get there. Maybe I should not do 3 in a row. Maybe I should go have a break. Bye for now. Like, subscribe, and comment if you're still watching. Bye for now.